Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're here for our podcast just before week 2 of the Winter 2023 season. We're excited to be here, and we're going to try and make this podcast a weekly thing this season and try and do that again because of many requests that we've had. Assalamu alaikum, Riz. Welcome. How's it going? We have today on the podcast Zain Maju coming back yet again, and we're happy that he does.
Assalamu alaikum, boys.
Salam. And then we have our special guest here, Doug Schoenberg.
I'm just happy that I don't. I'm just happy I don't have to say I don't face Siamber for a while again, man. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Welcome, man. How are you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. It's nice.
Good. Well,
different. I'm always on the other side.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you, and I'm gonna out you a little bit, saying that you're a little bit nervous, but you know what? You're gonna be fine. It's just talking with friends, talk hockey, and you're good at that, so it's gonna be good. So why don't we get started and just talk a little bit about what happened last week in week 1. And initially, if I can just get this sorted here, I'm not as efficient as Arif, but the first game of the night was actually Yakin versus Isan, with Yakin coming out with a 2-1 win. And it's so fitting that though you're on Isan and Zed, you're on Yakin. So maybe both of you could talk about this game a little bit. Daud, why don't you start?
Okay. I don't know. I think it was a pretty, considering it was like the first game, everyone. I remember, like, majority of the game, we fell short. It was a too many men penalty that kind of miscommunication. I mean, when you go up against the power play, they're going to make you pay every time. So in that first power play, we actually killed the second. I forgot who took the penalty for us. Tied the game, and then they shattered 18 seconds left, and they got that. They put up a good fight. I mean, obviously, like, these are really high level ball hockey players. Right? We didn't have any room to take our. These guys have been playing with each other for years, so I think we put up a good fight against them, though.
Yeah, a very close game. It was a scoreboard, anyways. Maju, what do you have to say about the game, being on the winning end, and then also being on the team to what Daoud just said, that these guys, most of them have been playing together for years, and it's actually pretty impressive that they were able to draft most of their guys onto their team in a draft league like this.
You know what? I think they benefited from a lot of players, like a lot of teams not knowing their players. And I think what Daoud is he put it right on the point, like, that the cohesiveness, the fact that these players, you played together for so long, it helps, right? But I got to give it to Ihsan that they played amazing from the get-go. Like, they were actually able to keep the pressure up for a good for a good few minutes of the first period, right? And they were taking it to us. They pinned us in our own zone, and our first line couldn't figure out how to get it out for a bit. So they actually played really well. Missing Zaki Park, I think that was a big piece of their challenge, right? They're missing their first round player. And like Daoud said, it does take some time for people to settle in. And to be honest, I don't know what the heck Shiraz had for dinner. I don't know what he ate, what he drank, but he played amazing. He was shutting that team. He was shutting us down left, right, and center, right? And it was just.
I'll tell you what it was. It was the Daoud pep talk before the game.
Definitely, man. Like, it was a joy to watch from the other end, man. I just couldn't stop, like, banging my stick in respect for the saves he was making.
Yeah, no, it was quite an impressive game, and he had a great showing. I'm sure Isan appreciated that, having him come up clutch. And Doug, was that like a last minute call up, or did you know well in advance and were you able to plan for that?
Yeah, no, we knew in advance because out of the country at the time, so He planned. Yeah, we knew exactly
It,
what was going on. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and it's curious, and I've wondered this, and I think maybe few other guys have as well. Is your GM trio is actually a little bit kind of, at least to me, from appearance, it looks up to be a little bit of an odd combination. I wouldn't expect the three of you guys, you, Mohib, and then Ali Khwaja, to join up and form a team. How did that come together?
To be honest, I was kind of scrambling for GMs. Kadir and Hamza, they left. He tried to come crawling back after when he saw all the names. Anyway, so I don't know Heeb a little bit. Like when we were actually playing leading up to the semis, out there, he was like, "Oh, I don't know the guy at all." And then I heard someone, so we kind of just scrapped it together. I think it's I was saying last week, but they were mentioning my Mohibs, so it doesn't. I guess on paper it doesn't make too much sense for us to play. And honestly, that wasn't the intention. And he's apparently an amazing playmaker. Other people's word, and obviously Mohib's word. And I can have like Hindi on my line. So we have two like players, one on line 1 and line 2. So that was good too.
That's great. No, I mean, it sounds like you thought through, and generally your teams do quite well every season, and I think it's kudos to you for doing all the scouting that you do every season. So one thing actually here, there's a little bit of a comment here asking where your forehead is on the camera. So maybe you want to adjust your camera a little bit though, where you're sitting.
Sure.
But you know what? I think I have a couple other questions for you, but why don't we save that till a little bit later? And we talk about game 2 here. So you have Ikhlas taking out Taqwa 3-2, and this was a close game from start to finish. So it's what do you guys have to say about this game? And I know you guys might have missed the first little bit of the game, getting ready after or getting changed after your game ended, but. We have Mr. Bucks here joining as well, a surprise appearance as well.
The big guns.
But Maju, what do you have to say about this game?
Man, it was really interesting to watch. To be honest, I think we called it from the get-go. Is both of these teams were really lacking on the D side of it, like personnel wise, and it almost seemed like that they were playing defense by committee. So when one of their forwards one of their D-men went up, somebody just kind of moved back, and they just were picking and playing. But that only speaks to their skill and their adaptability, right? They've played together for so long that you can see some of the players just like Munawar goes up, and then you see somebody else like Omar drop back, or you see on the other team you see Hamza go up, and then you see somebody else drop back. So it's that mobility and that versatility of these players. But both of these teams are very high powered, right? We talked about how the lack of defense, it's going to be interesting. And I did call out one of the teams, I'll say that. And I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But I know, Bucks, you had some really good thoughts of how the game were going. And even Hamdani was kind of just like standing out from everyone, right?
Well, I think, sorry, I just want to make sure you can hear me. But one thing I did notice is specifically, I was looking out for Hamdani. I just wanted to see how the brother played. I have not seen how he played or played with him before. So I just really wanted to know his style. And I could just say like he's a very efficient player. And obviously his accolades are, his reputation's there. But just seeing how he plays and how he moves, it's like no stride wasted. That's kind of the best thing I can say is he doesn't go out there and waste movements. He doesn't waste his energy doing inefficient things. I see like 3 steps and he's deking 2 guys and even people are hitting him. He's finding a way to squeak it and hit it top cheese. So, I just I think he's just getting started. I think he's getting used to our league and the players and whatnot. And I mean, the one thing, mashallah, about the brother is he's all business. He doesn't talk back. He doesn't do anything. He just puts his head down and beats you. So it's an elite level player, and it's really good to see. Also, just want to give a shout out to Taqwa team. I think everyone's kind of putting their energy on Hamdani and Batar and the whole how that team drafted. But I mean, there's a lot of firepower on Taqwa, and the kids really stepped up. To be honest with you, I thought the game was going to be a lot wider, a lot more scoring. But Omar Hussein and company clamped down and kept it tight. They tried their best to contain the leadership and skill that's on Ikhlas, and we'll see. It's a tale of two very different teams, but I think sky's the limit for both teams here.
Yeah, Buck, to your point there, I think the goalies did a really good job in this game with all the firepower on both sides and how wide open the game really was, the chances they were getting. So Riaz was saying on Taqwa and then Mohamed Patel or Badger on Ikhlas. I mean, they were really, really good at both ends of the ring. So kudos to them. Otherwise, I think this could have easily been like a 7-8 game almost. If they were kind of leaving a little bit off their game. Though, what do you have to say about the guys who dropped back on D, particularly for Taqwa? You had RC and Hamza Chaudhry dropping back on D, and they're typically, I would say,
Omar Hussein also was on D the whole game, I think, right?
Yeah, so Omar Hussein also on D. So these guys are very, very effective and strong forwards, but they drop back, and yourself being a forward who has dropped back and played D as well sometimes. What's your thought process, and how do you feel about doing that when you have to do that and being forced in that position to support the team, knowing that you're more effective as a forward and that is in your natural position?
Something that I realized recently, probably within the last year or so, I started playing defense, and it's surprising, like how much. Obviously, you're behind everything, right? Getting distracted. Hamza's fun is, but obviously, right? And you have a different outlook how everything pieces together. So in front of you as a defenseman, I don't know, maybe that defensemen usually don't see because they're just as a forward, So help them out too. I'm honest, man. I'm just getting distracted.
The podcast is a lot harder, Dawood. Trust me, man. You think this is easy for all of us? I'm giggling half the time.
This is how nervous Buck is. He forgot his ring light. It's in the background. It's supposed to be on and in front of him, but he's left it off.
No, man, that belongs at the gym. It's what are you talking about over here?
Right by the chest press.
I forgot that was there. My bad. But yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I know. I noticed Omar Hussein defense as well. I know he plays. He actually in his tier, and I think it's very similar. Sorry, you can barely hear me.
It's cutting
out.
My
mic okay?
Yeah, your mic is cutting out a little bit here and there.
Let me see.
You're sounding much better right now.
I'll just get a little closer. But yeah, Omar was saying I saw him playing defense on Ty, comfortable back there as well. I've also seen these are roles they've kind of taken on themselves, so it makes sense to see them drop back. I don't necessarily think it takes away from there's a little less firepower up front. If you have like if you still have can make things happen, like you had Hamza, you have Tahir was up there too. Hood had one of the goals in this game, right?
Hood had 2 goals, I think. Who had it? Hood.
Yeah, Hood had 2 goals. I mean, that was
Hood.
Yeah. So
Well-
definitely, like, obviously they didn't win the game, but decision making from them, it kept them in majority of the game.
Can I toss in something? I actually saw Omar saying in the day of on Friday. I ran into him at Hockey Life, so we were just chit chatting, and he kind of told me about Hamza being put on. Well, Hamza chose to be on D with him, and I think the thing was, I think Hamza was recovering a bit from an injury, but he didn't want to. He wanted to kind of hold down and he said he wanted to be the point man on shots. So I think that's also something to think about. You know, when special teams and guys want to utilize their skills, if some people have a hard shot, maybe you want that shot from the point. And Hamza is very smart, so he can kind of play around and do what he has to do. And similar to like Aldo Johan, where he can kind of run around and do what he has to do. Hamza can work the same way. And like Omar is saying, is a one-man wrecking crew. Like, literally speaking, you have to literally bounce off him in order to get him off the puck. But you know, he's effective on D and forward. So I'm not even going to read these notes because they're just going to make me laugh. So, you know, forget about what these guys are typing.
So, you know, speaking of Hood, sorry for the error, and thanks for the correction, everyone. He did score 2 goals, but in the third game in the Haya versus Iman game. So Haya came out with a 6-4 win here. So this is probably the score I would have expected in the Ikhlas and Taqwa game, and it ended up here. And I think a lot of guys were, at first, they were like, holy moly, did Iman really score 4 goals? Because going into this, a lot of people, I would say everyone, were thinking, well, where's the firepower going to come from? They have talented guys, but maybe do they mesh well and don't they mesh well? But I mean, they made this close. And if I recall, I think Haya came from behind to win this, didn't they?
No, Haya was winning most. I think Haya was ahead a lot of the game. But I mean, kudos to Iman for the 4 goals. That was I'll be honest with you. I mean, like I'm not gonna say anything. Like, I was one of the people that was saying, you know, where's the scoring power going to come from Iman? But I'm really happy to see like Hood get a couple of goals. I'm really happy to see them, and their guys. I mean, I saw that trade.
He had 3 points.
I'm good, man. I'm sure the typing crew will let me know if I just said something wrong. So it's all good. He got Hood's been great, and it's really good to see him kind of come out, and because you know I see a lot of talent in that kid, and it's good to see these guys firing. It's a lot of young guys on Iman, and I'd say it's a lot of like depth. So I think for them, it's just going to be scoring by committee and playing as a team, and having at least 3 lines show up, because I think that'll be how these guys wear down some of these teams with a lot of firepower. I mean, they kept it close. 6-4 is still close. Too bad for the goalies, but 6 still kind of close.
So, what do you feel? You know, what have you seen about Hamoudi and Asabika? Their chemistry. So they were on Ridad together last season, and they're again on Haya, and it looks like they've had a tremendous start, right?
Two very smart guys, 2 extremely smart guys who know where to be.
I said Dawood. What do you think?
Dawood, forget no, Dawood. I'm speaking for Dawood. Dawood, just text me what you want to say. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, I think these guys really showed, because I guess they played together last season, last Friday. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't know how many guys they showed up on the scoreboard. I think Hamoudi had 1 goal, but I mean, they were getting a lot of
2 goals, 2 assists for each for Hamoudi and Bika.
Yeah, so in front of me, I'm not too sure of all those details. Yeah, obviously it made a difference, right? Together they both 4 points each, right? So yeah.
Zaid,
yeah, it's huge.
No.
Did you see this game, Zaid? Were you playing?
Yeah,
this? I forgot.
Well, yeah, I was watching it, but now, okay. So let's do a quick little recap, okay? So yeah, you, Bucks, you know, you got the players wrong. I'm gonna call you out on that. You got to know Hood got called out by Omar Asawi, and he made a statement.
Who?
Now, correction. Our host is actually correct. We did go back and forth quite a bit. We actually got to know who the Mohideen brothers were. Right, they showed up in full force. I think it was Bilal Mohideen, who also plays now with a wooden stick. So second player in the league that plays with a wooden stick. It's been confirmed. We also had Riaz Hussein, who stepped in for Iman, who was playing his second game. So no one gave shout out or respect to him for his first game on Taqwa. I guess, yeah, Riaz, man, you played really well, but a second game back to back is always tough on a goalie. And this is where I'm going to call out Mr. Zahir likes to dive fancy. You got the stats wrong, buddy. Shape up.
Zuhair. I'm going to call you out, Zaid. I'm going to call you out for your lack of knowledge.
I'm putting people on notice, man. You can't get the goalie stats wrong. It's not allowed, man. He played 2 games.
So Zaid, being a goalie, what's your mindset being in a game like this where we had like a party here today. Sawi's here. So,
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
But say being a goalie, sorry, there's a lot of background noise coming from you, Sawi.
For me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So being a goalie, Isawi, you're gonna have to fix this, hey? I'm gonna have to take you off here for now.
What?
Maju, being a goalie and being up 6-4 in a game like this or being down 4-6 in a game like that, what's going through your head? Like, is it, holy moly, I let in 4 goals and we're only up by two goals right now, and then oh my god, I've let in 6 goals. Do you lose all your confidence there? Are you able to keep it? What's going on there?
It's a huge mental fight there, right? Like you're trying to do the best you can. And guys, I'm going to call myself out now and say, if you guys all remember, I was part of one of the highest playoff round goal scoring, whatever, of history of 23 goals in 2 games. I think I allowed 13, 14 of those. So it's a mental fight. It's just, you're trying to do everything you can to hype yourself up, to try to just find a way. At the end, you're just trying to find a way to get your angle right and get something in front of the ball, right? It's you're just hoping for the best. That's all you're doing. You're just hoping it hits you, right? I don't think Riaz was in that mindset. I think he played really well. He knows what he's doing, and he's just trying to prove himself, getting back into rhythm. But you have to remember, Iman was missing a lot of players. They were missing 2 GMs, right? 2 GMs, 3 GMs. I can't even remember. I know they were missing Adam. They were missing Huzaifa Mandra, and Bilal and Junaid were there. So they were missing 2 top players. So that always leads. I think it always messes with your confidence, messes with your ability. I think if Adam and Huzaifa were there, it would have been a different game.
Yes, and I think to what you said, right? Also, Imran Albi here with the comment saying letting in 6 goals shatters your confidence as a goalie. You've got to keep that memory short and get it together for the next week. So keep a short memory. I guess if you've let in 6 goals and that game is kind of behind you, you're like, okay, I'll just kind of play out the minutes here and then wait for next week. But maybe let's just move on to the next game, the final game of the night. We have here a 4-0 blanking of Sutter by Rida, with Rida also sweeping the 3 stars. I played in this game, but I don't know if you guys have anything you want to talk about. Oh yeah, Bucks was on the team too. He's even wearing his Sutter jersey right now. He slept in it. Dawood, did you watch this game, or do you have any thoughts on it?
Sorry guys, I really apologize if the mics are complaining about it.
Damn it, Dawood.
It's okay.
Don't worry, man. It's all good.
I watched
I'm joking.
about I think a good part of the first. I obviously weren't even there. Sen Casentini, all 3 weren't there. Wasn't there.
Casentini was there.
Oh,
it's just that Asani and Moss were not available.
Yeah, that's right.
Sonny
But,
Maz and Adil
Johan
Chauhan
wasn't-
weren't there.
Yeah.
If you're trying to say
So-
that he wasn't effective, so he was kind of like really not visible on the floor, then maybe you can say that on the podcast. Just be ready for him to talk to you later on.
No, my boy. I'm not gonna do him like that. So
This guy's talking smack about his buddy there. He brought him into the league.
but yeah. So I mean, I don't very fair to pass judgment on Subber. Like their top firepower. These Malton guys, like
They had a full bench.
similar to they got a full bench. That these guys are all clicking with a long time. Like they just took full advantage, right? So yeah, that's about all I can. I don't think it's
Zayd, did
very
you see the game?
fair, like I said.
Of course I did, man. I stuck around till the end. I had to watch this game. This was, the first game of the thing. Definitely with Subber missing players, it's a tough one. Now our poor chief or whatever you want to call him, RF Khan missed a beautiful. Just he deked out Yusuf, but just couldn't put it in.
Post. He didn't dig the
Penalty
post.
shot, on a penalty shot.
On a penalty shot, he ran out of space. But I think Dawood said it well, right? Rida just has been playing with their team. They know who they have. They brought everyone. They got the best out of Ahmed Khalid too, right? So Ahmed Khalid scored 2 goals in his first game, whereas I don't think he scored 2 goals last season. So he's getting getting the ability to run around players, do whatever he want, and then of course Kazi's trying to shut me up by scoring a goal from the point as well. So it's a big shut up Maju from Kazi. But got to give it to Yusuf. He played really, really well, made some clutch saves, and he was tested regularly.
We made it pretty easy for him. We made it pretty easy for Yusuf.
You guys had a couple of flurries on him, and he was able to keep it out. Where you guys have proved, Subber has proved that even without Adel, Farouk, and Maz, you guys can still hold your own. So that is no easy feat. And Khalil.
It was. I'll give kudos to the guys. A lot of guys playing out of position and maybe higher up in the lineup than they normally would have. And I think we did well. But then it kind of fell apart a little bit in the second period, where maybe guys got a little bit tired and, it's a late game, whatever it is. But we had a decent start, I think. But you know what? It's a long season. This is a 12-game season. So 11 more games to go. So you kind of just like you said as goalies is you kind of have a short memory, put that behind you. Just take any learnings from the past week and you go forward, right? But the guys on Rida, I mean, they know each other so well, and they played well. They were missing their second round pick, I guess it was. Is it? I'm gonna get this name wrong.
Last name with the M. Motion something.
Yeah, you're gonna get it right. Mohsen Mankrod.
Oh, Mohsen Mankrod. Yeah, Mankrod.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call him.
Don't let the stat Nazis get you.
He was not available last week, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's available tomorrow night. But you think about that. If they had that additional firepower, how would this game have been any different, and how much more difficult would it have been for Subber? So, and it looks like Rida's kind of firing on all cylinders. They had a few fumbles in the back end, and maybe Isawi and Kazi being paired together. I don't know if that's going to work long term because both of them like to push up, and I think both of them do require a little bit more of a defensive minded partner that stays back. But they'll figure it out. Like I said, it's a long season, so it'll be interesting to see how that all how that goes. If we talk about now, shift gears a little bit, and we have our player of the week, which we haven't announced yet, and that's coming soon. But we have a new sponsor this season, Stone Valley Countertops, and they're new. They're just starting. They've been around for a while, or a little while, and they're kind of promoting their business. But we're really appreciative of them coming in and sponsoring the Player of the Week this season. And at Stone Valley Countertops, they really specialize in various types of custom stonework. So you can find them on Instagram. When we make our posts for the player of the week, we'll link them up so you can connect with them and just inquire and get some more information and help someone from the community as well.
Now, is our background ice or is it a countertop as well?
No, that's ice.
Is it marble? It's ice. Okay.
Both. So speaking of which, we haven't posted it yet and haven't made it available publicly announced or anything, but Mohamed Hamoudi is our player of the week for week 1. With 2 goals, 2 assists, the referees did select him as player of the week. Understanding Asabika also had 2 goals and 2 assists, but the refs make the decision, and that's the decision they made. And you can only have 1 player of the week. So I'm sure Asif will have another opportunity later in the season to be a player of the week. So
they can wrestle for it. They can wrestle for it.
Yeah, there we go. We'll let them figure it out in the.
Sufyan Sheikh had 4 assists, so
he did. Yeah,
but we don't care.
He probably wants it too.
All those guys, very talented. I'm sure they'll have another opportunity later in the season to do this. So once again, thank you to Stone Valley Countertops, and we look forward to presenting these awards to these players and recognizing them as the season goes on. If we look to next week now, we kick off actually. Though you have another 8 p.m. game. I wonder if you're making these requests or what's going on. But it's a joke. So Ikhlas versus Isan at 8 o'clock. Haya versus Sabr at 9. Iman versus Rida at 10, and then we're closing off tonight with Taqwa versus Yakin. So instead of kind of going game by game here, maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the real surprises that we have from week 1, and maybe what we expect to happen in week 2, or hope that happens, and what certain players bring to the game. We talked about Hood having a really good game. We talked about the chemistry between Hamoudi and Asabika, but what are we really looking for? I thought that Ikhlas was a very strong team coming into this, and they did have a very strong showing, but it didn't necessarily reflect on the scoreboard. Hamdani, I believe, had a goal and an assist. Thinking about his caliber that he is as a player, I was maybe thinking, oh man, this guy is gonna like rip it up just like Muhib Shah did last season. And I'm not necessarily comparing the two, but in terms of how many points Muhib got last season, Dawood's just like totally toned out. He's like texting on the podcast and everything. We see everything, man. No, I'm kidding. But are there other guys you think who should have performed differently, or that you're expecting something different from this week or tomorrow night? Actually, Zaid, why don't you go?
So I think it definitely will start changing now, right? We're gonna get people starting to come back, and we have teams will probably have their full lineup. The word on the street is Ihsan's still going to be missing the first round pick, so that might cause a detriment to their team. But hey, it may really fire up their team to put that second gear in. So it's going to be a show to watch the 8 o'clock game. Now 9 o'clock with Sabr, we always know that they're missing somebody here and there. Heck, who knows if Sani is still in Australia or whatever the heck he's. Yeah, and eating or playing around with some kangaroos or whatnot, man.
Kangaroos.
And Haya is firing on all cylinders, so that's going to be another big game to watch. I think we just have electrifying games this weekend, right? All right,
every
this Friday,
game is electrifying. That's why everyone stays and watches all of them.
Iman and Rida, we have a basketball team taking on a hockey team. What else is there to see? But really, I think Rida just having everything on, just steamrolling right now. Most of their players came off a championship. They're loving life. It's going to be interesting to see if Iman can kind of slow them up and really put a wrench into their game. And then last but not least, it's T Park. It's the show right now. So watching them against the team that is basically playing 4 forwards and 1 D-man. So seeing how that system works for them, and when you get RC playing D and he plays up, Amza plays back and forward, MYC, like you just have the team that is playing double positions everywhere, and then their 1 D-man just kind of stays back and chills out.
So I'm going to call this as the game to watch. And unfortunately, not everyone's going to stick around for 11 p.m. games. But for those who will, I think this is the game to watch. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be firepower. I think it's going to be offensive. And Maju, you're in this game, aren't you?
Yeah, I might be asleep. It's 11 o'clock, man. It's just too late for my old man self now.
I think
take every shot you can because
shoot from everywhere.
This game at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
I think,
all. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
go.
I think that's going to be probably the game to watch from an offense perspective, and I think from a defensive perspective, I think you'll see the Suburb versus Haya. I think it might be a little more defensive than we think. So even though it was a 6-4 last week, I think this week might be a little more tight, or I could be totally wrong. Tune in to find out.
It's interesting just looking at this, and thanks to Mubin for putting this graphic together, making like a little bit of an addition here, is adding each team's record to the schedule, and that every game is a team that won last week is playing a team that lost last week as well. So you could have teams even out and get 500 at the record early in the season, or you could have teams stay perfect and another team go winless in 2 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out and whether the trends from last week carry over or not. Daoud, is there anyone that really stands out that you'd like to see a little bit more from? Or that you're looking to shine in any of these games?
He's like my team.
Please, my team.
Okay, I guess we can kind of touch on the trade, and that's something I'm looking forward to. We did trade Zahid, Mikhail Zaidi.
Zahid Punchman for Mikhail Zaidi, yeah.
Yeah, and Zahid's a great player and everything. I think he's our team. They're very, very similar, I think, but we've been going very, and apparently he's also played with Rayan Khawaja, Ali, and they have a lot of chemistry together. So they'll play together. Something for my team I'm excited with.
Oh, and also I'll say this. I'll just throw it in there. Mikhail Zaidi, he's a good kid. You picked up a really, obviously I know you picked him because a father-son carpooling and whatnot, but he's a really good defensive player, and I think he'll be that spark plug similar to Ryan. He's very, very fast, so use him. Use that speed.
And Daoud, I have a question for you actually. Just given how you've drafted in the past, and you look at trends from one season to the next, you tend to draft a lot of the same players that you have in the previous season, and then there's some guys who've been on your team for multiple seasons in a row. Like, what's your reasoning behind that? Is it that you're comfortable with the guys and you know exactly their ins and outs and how to insulate them on the floor and how to use them to the best advantage? Is it more that you're risk averse and you don't want to take a chance on a player you're not as familiar with, even though you might know their skill set from watching them? But like, what's your thought logic there without maybe giving away too much so that it hurts you in your next draft that you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I think like kind of goes to the first point you mentioned about just going with keeping the guys together for the most part. Like we have Osama, Danish, and Hindi. Like Hindi, Zahid, one I guess, and Habibi. They're like drafted that whole line together. They've been playing together. So exactly, it's like it's one whole about, Also, is like I think he's developed a little bit more. He takes feedback very well. He literally implements it. Like,
and sorry, some other guy. We cut out.
Danish. Sorry,
Danish.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy having. I don't know. The big thing about me too, I don't black and white. Like, oh, this guy's a good player. Like I really look at character as well. Like how, like, because I've had some. I've just like went on, like my first couple seasons. Okay, I picked one guy. He was like a first liner.
Toxic.
He just wanted to play with his. He just wanted, yeah, boys, you know. And he's like head down in the dress. It's like it throws off the whole team, kind of, you know. For me, a very important aspect, obviously, skill as well, is just like the team atmosphere. We could probably attest to that as well from last year that I prioritize. And I think it last season we were 0-4, right? And I don't think if environment in the dressing room was like, we wouldn't have been able to get out of that. So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah,
The environment in the dressing room.
no, that would you. I think you said it really well. Like every time your team plays, regardless of what the outcome is, you guys always seem like you have a very fun time out there. You guys are always, trying to build each other up, and you can see that in your teams. So, but also for a lot of guys just watching the podcast, it gives us an insight into the mind of a GM, right? Everyone's like, oh, why didn't you draft me? Why did not this? Why this? Oh, why did he do this? It's all about that team chemistry at the end of the day for you, right? And there's a lot of respect and a lot of things to be said to say, hey, man goes with what he knows. He goes with the guys he likes, but also just he wants the good atmosphere, and it shows in your record, season in, season out. You guys have, you might have struggled to start off the season, but you guys come back roaring, and that's a testament to the team you drafted, but the players you have together.
For sure. So, with that, I think it was great having you on the podcast, though. Really appreciate it. And we'd love to have you again sometime. So you're used to it now, so you're a pro. A couple of quick announcements just for tomorrow night is, inshallah, we will have our new jerseys. So really looking forward to seeing those in person, the new logos and the designs. Thank you to Isawi for doing that. And the other thing too is, if you're a new player to the league or you haven't played in a few seasons, we'll be looking to take your picture with your jersey on, so that we can have that for for any media work we do, and it's really helpful.
Not optional.
It's not optional. Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, if we've taken your picture in the past and you want to retake, then grab one of us and we'll retake your picture. And
I definitely want to retake.
We'll add it to the library. Buck, you have to keep your shirt on, okay? So, anyways, everyone have a great night, and inshallah we'll see you all tomorrow. And inshallah. Thanks to Dawood, Zayd, and Buck for joining tonight. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Very good.